Hey guys, it's Abby and welcome back to a long overdue journal with me video. I thought of catching up with you guys, but first things first, I'm actually gonna refill my fountain pen inks. Now I know a lot of you have been asking about fountain pen, so I will save that for a future video, but I decided to refill my inks because I found out yesterday that I used the wrong ink, which is India ink, to ink my fountain pens, and that's entirely not a right thing to do. So now I'm refilling it with two colors from the Pilot Iro Shizuku ink line. This one is Inaho. It's like an ochre color, and then the other one is tsuki-yo, which is like a bluish color on my Twisby. The previous one was on my LAMY Safari. So more on that soon, but honestly, when I was doing the pen test for this, I didn't realize that the Inaho one was relatively lighter, as you can see here, but also it may be because I'm using an extra fine nib for my Lamy versus the Twisby. It just writes so smoothly with the tsuki-yo color, so I really enjoyed that. Now I've been overusing it for some period of time. Now let's get a head start on updating my journal. I'm still using my Hobonichi Day Free in A6 techo size, but I am almost finished, so I kind of wanted to get it together now and catch up on the last few spreads before I move to a new journal. So here are some of the materials I'll be using. I will link all of those in the description, especially those that I can specifically find, and most of these are actually made by some of my good friends. So yeah, let's go and update. So, life lately has been a hodgepodge of different things, so I've been trying to keep it together, to say the least. One thing that has kept me going is, well, the community that I have, and of course being able to share a lot of daily musings on the internet, and writing and reading, and even simple things like dressing up helps me stay sane in some way. And I always like talking about those things when I do my journaling, because I don't know, when I do my journaling, it's not really about having to flaunt or flex a certain thing. It's really just documenting the mundane things that happen day to day. I really love this stamp set by Everyday Explorers. This is the add to cart set. I'm so sad it's sold out actually, but I feel like I've been overusing it with all the things I've been buying, mostly stationery and art books, so I'll show you guys more about that in a future video hopefully. So yeah, the hard part about updating my Hobonichi also at this point is, as you can see, the first half of the journal is basically thick, like with the double C, and now I am like struggling to sort of update on the right side. I tried like adding maybe cardboard or something, but it's just not the same. So I guess the struggle is that, but also I wouldn't regret actually having to put in a lot of things and paper on the previous pages, because that's just how I document. So lately I've also been cooking a lot in the studio, so I've been enjoying writing about that and finding new recipes, developing recipes. Wow, I sound like a test kitchen, but I really enjoy it because it's my way of basically traveling and exploring different skills. And I don't know about you, but I find cooking such a meditative activity. So nowadays, whenever I can, I do set aside some time to prep my food, look for ingredients online, look at deli online shops, and really take some time to learn more about food and what I can do with them in order to make better tasting food and for me to enjoy my experience daily. I mostly cook my lunch meals, so that's something that I'm very proud of and something I've been busy with these days. I also encountered this article called Languishing from the New York Times. I'll link it in the description, and this art was really pretty. That was probably the cover art, and it was written by Adam Grant, and I really resonated with a lot of what was written down in this article, because nowadays we feel like it's either we're unmotivated or unfocused, and I think that's a very normal thing because we've gone past the grief stage where it's like, oh, we're grieving of the normality that we've lost because of the pandemic, and now it's more of just learning to accept it but also feeling a bit lifeless, if that makes sense. I do have a lot of these days, and what I try to do is really find ways to step out of what I'm currently used to, or have some more quiet time to myself and really take time to tend to my mental health, because it's as important as our physical health, especially during these challenging times we're in. It's been more than a year, but a lot of things are still happening, and it's been quite an experience, to say the least. One thing I also wanted to write in here is the idea of self-acceptance, which is something I always talk about, but I really like these stickers that Dear Self Beauty sent me. These were designed by Jam of Paper Aika Shop. Of course, I love Jam's work. And I was talking about this topic to a few friends last week. I think we were on a really long Discord call, and we were talking about how growing up I felt so detached from society in some way because I'm Asian, and what I saw on TV is mostly white people, and also like these stars with like blonde hair, blue eyes, and I always felt like Mulan was the only character that resonated with me. And we've been talking a lot about the resurgence of a lot of Asian representation in the media these days, which is great. And I think that's one thing that always made me feel like I wasn't enough as a person. Like, you can be an artist, but if you're a certain race, or you're come from a certain country, it feels like you're not as enough as everyone else. And I'm really starting to learn more about how to not feel compelled to have to be someone else, if that makes sense. I've always felt like a lot of my qualities as a person are very rare. Like, I'm an introvert. I don't like to talk. Well, I do like to talk, but it's only like here, like with audio and stuff. But I'm not very confident. I grew up having to overcome those things because I felt like it was my way of sort of proving my past self wrong, or like breaking the mold of what a Filipino Chinese person, or woman in that case, is supposed to be, how she's supposed to act, how she's supposed to, take over the family business. I'm literally spilling some tea here, but basically, yeah, I feel like I've defied all of these things, and as much as it makes me feel like I sort of, didn't conform, it's also starting to I'm also starting to realize, like, is it enough for me to do that? Because I don't know if it's enough, but I'm learning to accept that who I am is very unique. I have a story to tell, and we all have our own stories to tell, and that's something that we carry on with our lives. And we have to own our story because it matters, and it's the only one that we have, so might as well make the most out of it. By the way, all the materials will be linked in the description, and here are some of the final spreads that I was able to do. It was nice catching up with you, and I hope to see you in future Journal With Me videos. I also tried a new angle this time. Let me know if that's something that's up your alley. By the way, if you want to join our journaling hangouts, we do have monthly hangouts on patreon.com/abbeyc, so make sure to check that out in the link in the description. Take care!